Hello, welcome back to our Sonic Lab series with Tom Londsborough from Manchester MIDI School. He's also in the act 2 Billion Beats. He's brought his live rig in and he's kind of showing us some tips and tricks on what to do if you're kind of setting up for a live event and a live gig, and you've got hardware, software, and there's lots of tips and tricks that we're putting into this to show you how you can configure live to work in that environment. So Tom, one of the things that I know I was asking you about is, when I've done my limited amount of live knowledge and I've tried to kind of, you've got an arrangement, you've got a song that can play in its entirety, you know, you generally are kind of triggering clips to do it because you can't do follow-on actions in the scene. But if I wanted the kind of the whole arrangement just to play if I didn't intervene whatsoever, how can I make that happen simply? Okay, so yeah, for anyone that doesn't know, a follow action, you can access these just by double clicking on the clip, and then in clip view, you just need the L, the launch box active, and this is what we're talking about in this video, the follow actions. So after this portion of time, something will happen. That's a follow action. Wherever you see these boxes in live, it refers to bars, beats and sixteenths. By default, you can see there's nothing happening. But if we just have a look at these drop-down menus, you can see these are some of the actions that we can get the clip to perform after it's played through.
Right, but if you have like a complicated session and maybe some 4 bars, some 8 bars, it would take a long time to put that for each individual clip to follow them on, right?
That's right, yeah. So what you can do, I'm just going to select all my tracks by clicking the first, shift clicking, select them all. I'm going to use the shortcut to group them. If we just go Command G, Control G on the PC.
So what that effectively doing is almost like creating a bus track of all of them, an enclosing folder for everything inside that, right?
Yeah. So yeah, the only thing to be careful of here is if you do have, you know, if you've already set up some routing and stuff, by grouping the tracks, it will automatically route the audio output to the group. Any tracks that have been previously routed directly to the master, I think if you've got individual channels set up, that still retains its routing, but just bear that in mind. Anyway, if we close up the group, you can see we've now got access to follow actions as a whole. So I can set a follow action for the whole scene. So now we can say after, let's say 4 bars, so just click and using the arrow keys to say 4 bars, we can get it to do any of these actions. So let's just say next one in the scene. So then if we just unfold that, hopefully, let's just trigger that scene. Now, it's an important point to note.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You notice how on that particular track, there wasn't a clip there.
Right.
And so the next one in the scene for that is back up at the top again.
So
all you need to do is just maybe create a blank clip like that.
And if you've got audio in there, you need to put dummy clips in. Is that what you have to do? Or does that...
Yeah. Right. So follow actions only work if you've got clips in consecutive slots and if you've got obviously the same number of clips per track for the follow actions to follow.
So it might
logically.
require a bit of extra work, but it does at least mean that you can just do a whole scene following on for the next one without having to do individually program each one.
It's a lot less work than, like you say, having to program each one. Yeah.
Right, well that's very handy. I mean, follow actions in general are kind of quite useful. I mean, there was something you were showing us with the stop button as well as another way of kind of controlling the way that playback works.
Yeah, that's slightly different. So if we just trigger this scene, and then we trigger the next scene, what would ordinarily happen if there was a stop button there is my 303 would cease playback.
Right.
What I'd like that to do is carry on for the duration of the track. Now, obviously what we could do is just repeat that clip, but sometimes it's nice just to keep things neat and tidy and you can sort of see maybe a little bit easier what's playing and what's not. So removing the stop buttons, and the shortcut for that is Command and E, means that when you trigger the next scene, there's no stop button there to stop that clip from playing.
Ah, okay. So then you might how do you stop the clip?
You've got a few different options. Obviously, if you've got something like push or a grid controller,
you can intervene and do it that way.
Yeah,
right?
You can intervene and do it that way. If you're not using
push, if say you're just using your laptop. If you run out of stop buttons, there's always a stop button at the bottom of the track.
Right.
And the other way that you could potentially stop it is, I've set the launch mode to toggle, and what that means is the launch button, if we click it a second time, will also stop it.
Right. But I suppose if you just put a clip in the next slot, you want that to stop playing, and that would work as well.
You could do that, I suppose, yeah. If you just make it's really easy to make blank clips for MIDI tracks, like that. Yeah,
Right.
you just double click a slot.
So it's just, there are a lot of ways to do it, and obviously that's what makes it suitable for everybody's different workflows as well.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a nice tip. Thank you very much, Tom. That's it for this time. We'll see you next time. Don't forget to watch the rest of the series. We've got a whole bunch of videos where Tom gives us a lot of really great tips and tricks on how to kind of get set up for live. Anyway, see you next time.